Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and here you can see my first layout that you guys already saw. I did go back and add those enamel dots, and I did actually have the footage for that, so I did it right before I started on layout 2, which is why it's in this video instead. But this is now the layout I'm working on. I'm working on layout 2 from project number 1, which is the second page of the double page that they give you. If you saw the first layout, you can see that, or maybe you remember, I substituted one of the papers from the white and red floral to using this blue floral that I really like. So I'm just going to carry that over. I also wanted to mention that these scallopy elements that run behind the photos in the original, they don't run edge to edge, but because I already cut into this blue floral for the last page and I don't want to cut into the next one because I know I'll need it for some future projects, I'm kind of tweaking this a little bit where I'm going to make those lacy bits run all the way edge to edge, which works really well because you have this large photo strip on the page that's going to cover up the gap from those scallops. So I definitely wanted to show you, if you are playing with these products, kind of how you can make those pieces look longer if you need them to. I'm inking the edges of all of this in the papaya ink, and I'm gonna go ahead and mat those on the papaya cardstock, just so when you look through all of these die cut pieces in these scallopy sections, they're backed by this papaya color, because like I said, I used part of the blue that's going to be the 12 by 12 on this page for the last page, and so there's going to be a gap running behind this lacy element, so I needed a paper to back it so you didn't see that. So you'll kind of see what I mean when all of this comes together. I dug through my stash and also found a little finger dauber. I knew I had one of these and I could not find it, but I really needed it for my papaya ink because I did not want to use my Tim Holtz ones that already have black and brown ink on them. So I did find that to use on this layout, so that makes it a lot easier kind of getting into all those nooks and crannies with this ink. But I went through, inked all of those pieces. That really helps with the dimension once all of this gets layered, having that darker edge. So now I'll start piecing them all together onto this background, and I think I'll cut in a little bit so you don't have to watch the whole thing come together, but you can just see me trying to trim up my double-sided tape so it's super skinny, that way you don't see it through these holes, and I'm just going to run it along the top of all of these pieces so I can layer them all up and tuck them underneath each other. I didn't notice at first that these elements have a front and a back, and one side is slightly darker than the other side. In the original, they alternate light and dark, and I really like the dimension that gives, so I'll end up doing the same thing once I kind of realize that. And thankfully, I just so happened to put all of this tape on the right sides of all of these pieces to do that. But I'm just going to get these trimmed up. I think I'm almost done with the glue, and then we'll continue. Similar to the first page, I didn't have the photos in the same dimensions that they used in their project. They used 3x4 photos, I'm pretty sure. I have 2 vertical 4x6s. I'm going to trim them down a little bit so they're shorter, so they don't run the full 12-inch span of the page, because I really like that they matted it on this yellow, and I really like the ephemera that they did at the top and bottom, so I'll trim them down a little bit shorter so I can mat them the same way, and you kind of already saw that. I matted them on that yellow piece, but that's another way. You really don't need to feel restricted if you're following along with their projects. If you have photos in different proportions, you can still make it work. So I kind of wanted to showcase that on this layout. Here I'm layering all of these bits, and then I will trim them out of this papaya cardstock. I'm going to cut really quick so this is all done and you don't have to watch the whole thing. And ta-da, it's trimmed up. I will also go back and fussy cut underneath the bottom part of that last scallop so that it overhangs the blue layer that's the background. I think that's really important to give it that lacy look, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I just kind of created the size I needed. Now all of these are glued together and they're backed, so don't have to worry about any holes of the background kind of coming through. This is what I mean about me using a piece of that blue paper. I need to figure out how to make this look like a full 12-inch piece. So I pulled in another scrap of black paper. I trimmed up this layering bit so it'll hide behind my photo strip, and that way it looks like it runs edge to edge. And then once I know where that's going to go, I can trim this blue piece, and I'm just going to glue it to the top and bottom of this 12 by 12, and that gap will be covered by the pink lacy bit. So that's how I kind of got around that. If you get creative with your scraps, you can really make it look like you have a lot more than you actually do. So that's another great tip if you end up using these products and kind of substituting some papers, because they kind of tell you how much you need of each paper on each project. You can kind of figure out how to get around that if you need a little bit more. And then similar to the first page I did, I'm going to be inking everything that's blue in the blue ink pad, the Catherine Pooler ink pad from last month, that I'm carrying over into this month. And then I will ink all of these pink elements again in that papaya ink from Close to My Heart. So I am just gluing that down. Now that I'm pretty happy with the format of the base part of the design, I'm going to get it all glued down, and then I get to move on to the embellishment. I think I mentioned it in the last layout too. I'm really having a lot of fun creating this way because it takes out a lot of the guesswork I usually get stuck on by kind of telling me where to start with my ephemera clusters. And so far I've kind of continued to add or change things or tweak things so it's more my style, but you can still really see where it came from their original. So I really kind of like taking their products and their formula and kind of making it my own. So getting the background glued down. In their original, they took a scrap of the rainbow stripe. You saw that on the last layout too, what I matted my photos in. And there's a little strip of it running up the left side of the photo strip. But I decided that I would like it on both sides of the photo strip. So I did just cut 2 pieces of that. And I'm going to ink that in the papaya ink as well. But I think it just adds extra layering. It really looks like it's one larger piece. And it makes the layers look a little bit more substantial because this is one of their layouts that looks more minimalistic, which is nice if that's your style. But like I said, I just want to make it feel a little bit more me. So making that piece look a little bit more layery helps with that. So I'm going to get those pieces inked, and I'll tuck those under both sides of the photo strip. So hopefully it looks like one large layer. And then I get to go in with the ephemera, which has become my favorite part of playing with these products. I just really like that they tell you how to layer them, and they do a really good job with it. So it just takes out all the guesswork. And then if you'll remember the blue banner I had my title on from the first layout, I trimmed a piece of it off because it was a little bit too long for where I needed to put it. I will add that to one of these clusters over here just for an extra layering detail. It didn't really need it, but I do like, since they're companion pages, that element is kind of on both pages. So you'll see that in a little bit too. But here are all the punch out pieces from their ephemera pages. I went ahead and pre-punched out. I'm going to get those inked in their coordinating colors. A couple of the things I will pop up on some foam tape. And then once those are down, I'll go through the sticker sheet and kind of pull out all the elements that they used from that to create all the clusters. So again, there's that little page I pulled in just to check where I was. And here's that sticker sheet. I'm going to go ahead and pull off all the elements that I saw that they used, including this giant banner that says "What a Beautiful Day." That's pretty much going to be my title. I will do a tiny bit of journaling. This coordinates with the first layout that I already did a lot of journaling on. But I did just want to document Home Sweet Home. This is when Avery first came home from the hospital. I love it. He's so precious in this little sleeping photo. And then this other photo, he just looks so serious, which is funny because he's just the most giggly, snuggly baby. That this photo of him, I just giggle every time I see it because he just looks so serious. But I definitely wanted to document both of them. So that camera's going down there where it was in the original. The original has that camera kind of on an angle, but I decided just to straighten it up a little bit. I'm going to layer up the ephemera pieces that they already recommended. The wood grain heart will be on some foam, and then I will do my little cluster at the top of the page too. That's using the tag, one of these round bits, and I've noticed a lot of their pieces are layered in a way where you can save parts of the die cut. So as you can see, that round die cut with the blue hash marks, a lot of it's tucked behind the photo. So I will end up trimming a part of that off so I can use it as a layering element on a different page. So this piece is getting popped up on some foam too, that little bit that says special day. And then this big banner is definitely getting popped up on some foam because that is my title. And I definitely want you to be able to see some dimension when I layer it over the florally leafy elements that are going to be top and bottom of that. So there we go. Just going to layer it up next to the photo, pretty much where it is in the original. Same with these floral bits. I'm going to kind of tuck those the same way they had it in the original. And then similar with the last page, I really just felt like there's this one wood grain heart they included next to the camera, and I just really feel like this page needs more wood grain since there's that one element. So to help balance out that element and that motif, I did pull in some extra wood grain hearts that they included, and I'm going to have a wood grain heart in each of these 3 clusters. That way it creates a visual triangle with the wood grain hearts. And I just like that addition, but I did want to mention that I did decide to add that. This is that extra banner piece that I saved from the first page. I'm just going to tuck it up there just for an extra layering bit. And then this is where I'm going to go through all those wood grain pieces. I would have loved how this frame looked tucked out from the side, but I didn't feel like pulling up that banner. And I really liked the idea of sticking with the heart motif, so you can kind of see me laying those out. But I really love how that creates a visual triangle. It really frames the photo nicely. And now I just feel like the heart that's down by the camera makes more sense. It was just it was just weird to me that there was just one wood grain heart and that's it. So these are getting popped up on some foam as well. And then I just wanted the one by the title to be a little bit larger. There's a lot of extra room there, especially since I expanded the lacy element with the pink paper. So that helps fill it out a little more. And I think we're almost done. I am going to go in and add some enamel dots on this page too. Here's where I'm just doodling my journaling at the bottom of the photo. It just says home sweet home and the date. And then I think I just add some enamel dots, and I think I'm pretty much done after that. So the last page that's coordinating with this one, I used yellow and pink enamel dots. And there are a couple pink enamel dots left on that same sticker sheet, so that's what I decided to go in with to embellish on this one. This is where I end up trimming that circle piece too, so you can see that whole piece that I saved to the left there, and now I can use that as an extra layer on another page. So that was nice to save that as well. But here's the enamel dots. I'm just going to go in with a couple of the pink ones. I just love that extra texture. It just adds something shiny. That is one thing with these products, because it's pretty much paper, ephemera, and stickers. It can all be very flat, but that's why they recommend the foam tape. I think is super helpful, popping things up on some foam to give it some dimension, but just adding something like Nuvo drops at the very end really helps give some dimension and extra pop. So again, there is the original, here's my layout, here are them together, and I really like how they turned out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here are the close-ups, and I will see you in the next process video. We will be starting project number 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.